Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of All the Things Harry Potter. I'm sitting down here again with my husband, Nate.
Hello.
And we are going to get into chapter 16, Through the Trapdoor. Chantal and James came over again to help us get into one of the last two chapters of the book.
That's right. We're getting closer to the end now.
Things are starting to stack up towards our climax, and it's getting good. At least I think it is.
Yeah, there was a little bit of debate on this chapter. Not everybody was its biggest fan, but we still had a lot of fun talking about it, and we can't wait to get into the final chapter.
Yeah, and we'd love to hear your guys' opinions on it, so be sure to stick around till the end and hear our social media, and let us know.
Enjoy.
Welcome back, everybody. How you guys doing? I feel like it's been, a long time since we recorded, but it really hasn't. But I'm happy we're here tonight.
This is chapter 16, Through the Trapdoor, and it is the second to last chapter of the book.
I thought it was pretty boring.
You didn't like it? It's like the climax of the whole book.
Maybe the reason that you feel that is because each of the different things that we encounter later in the chapter, we kind of have seen earlier in the book. Well, we can get into that parallel between things that happened earlier in the book. We can just move on.
Probably best. So the chapter basically starts by saying Harry isn't sure how he makes it through his exams because he's so preoccupied now with worrying about Voldemort. It says he's basically afraid he's going to kick open the door on any one of these tests, so he can hardly concentrate.
That's got to be a scary thing to be thinking about all the time, that somebody's just going to pop out of nowhere and try and kill you, especially for an 11-year-old.
It's hard enough to focus during exams when it's hot outside and you just want to go out, fuck around.
Which kind of brings me to my point. All the magic, you can't finagle some kind of air conditioning? I'm just saying.
We talked about that earlier with the heating.
We did.
It's weird. They need to figure it out.
I feel like they're just lost in this little confused, do we live medievally and not use magic for things, but we use it for random things that we wouldn't think about using the magic for because we'd be like, turn on the heat, bring on the air conditioning.
So it's,
right?
It's very clearly not medieval times.
Except in the castle, apparently.
Yeah, maybe that's part of the magic of Hogwarts.
So everyone gets to swelter to death.
Right.
You're at a castle. It's so fucking cool. You can sweat your balls off. It's fine.
Yeah. Priorities, right?
Yeah.
But we do get to see some cool magic. This is the cultivation of everything they learned this whole year. For McGonagall's class, this was actually kind of an interesting one. They have to turn a mouse into a snuff box, and I wasn't sure what a snuff box was. So I looked it up, and it's actually, way back when, they would powder their tobacco leaves and keep it in a little tin and then sniff it like it was Coke. That's what a snuff box is. It's just a container for all that powdered tobacco. And then my immediate question was, why the fuck are they making those? Isn't that a school? Aren't they 11?
So now that I know that, I'm agreeing with you. That's odd.
Right. We'd get in trouble for making ashtrays back in the day.
She's just trying to make sure they're prepared. Again, this was in the 80s, so not quite as do whatever as the 70s, but still kind of do whatever, and smoking wasn't really that bad.
For Snape, they have to make a forgetfulness potion. The idea popped in my head that you could tell him I remembered how to make it, but then, I forgot.
I took the potion, so...
Pass me, dude. But Snape probably wouldn't buy something like that.
Definitely not.
Harry's scars hurting the whole time like a motherfucker, too.
Yeah.
So that's also pretty distracting.
Keeping him up at night.
Not exactly good for a mind trying to study and absorb everything it can.
I feel like I, too, during exam weeks would have nightmares. Not about that, but just in general, it's stressful. So I can imagine the extra burden of stress on this poor child.
No cloaked figures dripping blood in your dreams.
Not recently. Quick round of questioning here. What of these classes do you think you guys would have, liked? Which one do you think you would have, aced that exam had you taken it?
Potions.
Honestly, I think I would have done really well in history of magic. I always liked history.
I feel like that would have been mine too. That was my answer. Is I think History of Magic 1, I was interested in that one the most. I think I would have liked it. But 2, because it wasn't necessarily practical use.
See, initially I started to say History and Magic, but then I was thinking about it, and they sound real bored. And I'm not good with bored. So I would probably do better in a Charms or Transfiguration where they're forcing me to do something and keep me busy.
I could definitely see you in Transfiguration, turning everything into a puppy or a bunny or something soft or something shiny.
Yeah, I like the animals, so probably Transfiguration.
I totally see that.
For me, it was Snape's introduction to the class where he's telling them, if you pay attention, I could help you brew fame. And
That's because you're a motherfucking Slytherin. Oh, easy way to the top? Give me it.
See, that's why I think History of Magic would be cool, because you'd be able to read about all the shit that all of those wizards already pulled off. You get one good chapter in a book,
you would have everything.
and then you can really do some shit.
And listeners out there, we'd love to hear what you think too. So let us know, what class would you like? What class would you want to be in? What one do you think you would ace?
Yeah, which one do you think you would not make it through?
They end up hanging out by the lake, and they see the twins and Lee Jordan tickling the tentacles of the squid.
That's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, why is there a giant squid in the lake?
Well, I would imagine there's giant everything in the lake.
I guess I just pictured it like a little lake around the castle, not very big at all.
Like a moat.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah.
And the castle's still on a mountain,
Right.
but then I was like, okay, with that visual, why the fuck is there a giant squid in that thing?
Okay. I always visualized it as a larger lake, like a big pond. In the visuals that we usually see of Hogwarts, that looks like a really big ass lake. There's a giant cliff, and you're going across this giant body of water. But in my head, that lake was never. It wasn't like Lake Michigan. It's like a privately owned lake, you know? And if it's a privately owned lake like that size, then a giant squid living in it is super fucking weird. And the behavior of the giant squid is pretty weird because.
He's all just into being tickled. How do they know, for one, it likes to be tickled?
Right.
They're just out there and see it wiggling its stuff out of the water, and they're like, wow, let me go play with that once.
Yeah.
See what happens.
It also doesn't say how they're tickling it. It doesn't say if they have a stick or giant leaves or if they're legit just finger tickling it, which I feel makes a difference.
It just blows my mind.
This whole scene is so... It's just a quick little, oh, they're tickling a squid.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's one of those moments that you don't get a whole lot in this book because there's plot point. They're at a magic school, and there's just these fun little moments that would happen if you were living at a magic school where after class you would just go chill somewhere and relax. We get a little bit of the common room, but they don't hang out in the rest of the castle a whole lot. So it's one of those oh, there is more there that they get to enjoy than just their private little room.
I think I appreciate these little moments more rereading as an adult than I did before. And possibly because it's been a long time since I actually originally read. But still, I think I do. I appreciate these little ones. Just a little more.
Also, they are in school still for a week after exams are done?
It's a boarding school, so I believe they stay there while their exams are all being graded, and then at the end of that week, they post the grades, and then it's probably about time to start heading home.
Because usually, the schools that I went to, once you were done with exams, you're done with school, pretty much. So I just thought it was interesting that, like, they got to hang out, basically just chill for a week at school, because there's really nothing for them to do anymore.
Well, I think we know that you get a letter for your first year of Hogwarts, but I think they tell you if you pass or fail while you're there.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that they just got to chill together. Those would be some really cool times to just hang out in a castle with your friends, not having to worry about classes or anything but peeves.
Oh, Peeves.
When they're sitting at the side of the pond, though, he does tell Ron and Hermione about his scar. He thinks it's a warning, and they tell him he should go tell somebody, and he's like, nah. I'm gonna just keep it to myself for right now.
I feel like they kind of shrugged it off a little bit.
Quit your bitchin', take some Tylenol, talk to me tomorrow.
Right. Like, they're like, no, it's the end of the year. We don't got shit to do. We're not going to worry about this. We don't need that going on right now.
We don't need any more problems, Harry. It's probably just a headache, bud.
You know what I loved about this scene was Harry is like, no, fuck you guys. I'm actually worried about this. I think it's warning me. And I started to laugh because Harry's got fucking Spidey sense now. I was like, oh, it warns him of danger? No fucking way.
I think I knew that, but I don't think I really thought about it like that.
It's fucking Spidey sense.
He's got a superpower.
What kind of danger? Is it specific person, or is it just any kind of dark, magical individual or creature? It doesn't really explain that at all.
So far in the book, it has mentioned his scar burning 2 times. The first time was when he first got to the school, and Snape looked at him, and it started to burn. And the second time was when he saw Voldemort in the woods. So his scar hurting now kind of leads me to believe that something is going on with either one of those 2 characters. Like you were saying, Jade, nobody really wants to worry about Harry's scar, even though he's freaking out over it a little bit. Ron is totally checked out, and even when Harry brings up his concerns about the stone and Fluffy, Ron says Hagrid's never going to give up the secret. We got nothing to worry about. Fuck you and your scar. It's summertime. Bitch, relax. And I mean, obviously, that wouldn't be a good enough answer for Harry, but he looks up and he sees an owl flying overhead, and the train of thought that he goes on just baffled me. Do you guys remember all the jumps he makes to get the conclusion that he comes to?
Oh, yeah. But really quick, Ron totally burns Neville, and it will bring me to a point later that I will also touch base on this, but yeah, rude.
The point about Quirrell is the point about him playing Quidditch for England before Hagrid lets Dumbledore down. So, I mean...
I'm just saying, if you're going to burn somebody, at least do it to their face. It's rude, and I will talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll talk more about Neville in a little bit.
We will.
The train of thought is pretty fucked up.
The jump that Evel Knievel couldn't make?
He likes to say that about me. I also thought it was funny, the things that he says, too. Hagrid would never tell anyone how to get past Fluffy. And I'm just like, So far, the things we know about Hagrid is that he says things. Doesn't matter who entrusted him with these things. They just fall out of his mouth. So Harry even thinking those thoughts is a little bit like, because Hagrid tells you stuff all the time. Stuff that Dumbledore told him not to fucking say.
Right. So Harry looks up, he sees this owl, and it reminds him of Hagrid. And he's like, Hagrid is the only person who really ever sends me owls. And then he's thinking about Hagrid, and he goes,
don't you think it's a little bit odd that what Hagrid wants more than anything else is a dragon, and a stranger turns up who just happens to have an egg in his pocket? How many people wander around with dragon eggs if it's against wizard law? Luckily, they found Hagrid, don't you think? Why didn't I see it before? And Ron's all like, what are you talking about? Why is it weird that someone carried around a dragon's egg, but not weird that someone carried around a puppy with 3 heads?
I'm gonna go with both weird.